This is Singles Exchange. Let's talk, let's hang. This is Singles Exchange. Singles Exchange.
All right, welcome back to the Beauty Exchange, a mashup of two amazing podcasts. I am Joy J, the host of Singles Exchange, as you see behind me. You can follow Singles Exchange on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube, and whatever your podcast streaming platform is. And I will let Miss Raquel introduce herself.
Listen, thank you. Yes, welcome back to Beauty Exchange. I am Raquel Gilmore, and I'm a creator and founder of a podcast by the name of Beauty Talk. I know it does sound like it's centered around makeup, but it is not. It is a Christian podcast just covering daily conversation, daily things that we deal with as believers. It's central towards my ladies, but I believe if you listen to it, you'll get at least a gem or two. So yes, follow me on Facebook. My name Raquel Gilmore, and when you search up Beauty Talk on like Apple or podcast platforms, just type in Beauty Talk and then my name Raquel. So yep, let's get into it.
Right, let's get into it. We started this mashup to talk about Married at First Sight, which is one of our favorite shows, and we are discussing season 12. I believe this is episode 6 that we are.
Yes, ma'am.
And you don't hop right into it because we already know it's full of drama, but it is what it is. We gonna get our drama birds out the way, but we'll talk about the rest of the people in peace. So, would you like to start with Chris and Paige?
Would I like to start with Chris and Paige? So much, it's interesting. Like, I don't know if I want to start at the beginning of their storyline at the end, because they start off on 10 and then they end on 10, and then the preview for next episode is on 10. If I'm not mistaken, please give me right. When they started off, they were going on the excursion on like the ATV ride or something like that. Mm-hmm. Okay, yep. That's where they started. That's where they picked up at. So we're just gonna, matter of fact, Joy, you give them the background story, and then I would just put my little 2 cents in.
Okay, so actually, the very first thing on my notes is, will Chris and Paige actually do any excursions? Because we see they're like halfway through their honeymoon last week, and everybody has had an excursion but them. So they're at these ATV rides, and they, riding these little ATVs, which I don't know if anybody has ever ridden an ATV, but the ones that I rode in Cancun did not have all that protection that the ones they rode had. Okay, me and Kayla was just on there hoping that we would flip over, and another girl in our group did flip over. It was bad. She was literally
like no seatbelts or nothing.
You hold on.
Oh my lamb.
You hold on and pray. So shout out to Kayla, because I didn't even want to drive the thing when I saw it didn't have no seatbelts. But
we had
a ball. But anyway, so they rode the ATVs, and afterwards, which I think was a little bit of a setup, the editors had Chris with 2 of the girls, neither of which were his wife, just kind of talking about their situation. So they've all been married at first sight to these random people. And shortly after getting married, Chris found out that his ex-fiance is pregnant. This sounds like some love and hip hop stuff, but I promise y'all it's not. So he's having this talk with the young ladies, and they are basically saying, we are concerned about Paige. She is our friend, but she is your wife. And, we are concerned about how she is internally handling this situation. And so he pretty much went off on them and told them, like, it's not y'all business, nor is it y'all place. We got this. Leave me alone, type of thing. And he been a ticking time bomb for weeks anyway. So I really feel like they set him up to snap. Like, this was the day that they just wanted him to explode, and they put every opportunity in his way, like he wasn't gonna take it. So you feel free to jump in, because my notes get a little
okay. I'm gonna jump right on in there, because not only was it that, but Chris felt attacked. So then he also started barking back. He was like, listen, y'all jumping on the wrong bandwagon, trying to get in my business. I've asked y'all for privacy. And I will say that episode 5, he just told them like what we need from y'all if y'all are going to support us, in which they really were supporting him. He was saying if y'all were going to support us, we want privacy, meaning we don't want y'all in our business, which I always think is interesting because in regular life, I can see how that element works. You know, this is my life, you mind your business, I mind my business, okay? However, when we on the show and the whole Married at First Sight production, they're going to be put together. So as you said, it was a setup, but then you have this argument going on between him. It really was him and Virginia, but then Clara was also there, but she kind of like backed away when she saw like, listen, this Negro, he ain't really that stable. I'm kind of gonna opt out. And then they go back and forth, they throwing insults and things like that. Now everybody know I am not a fan of Chris. I've made it obviously, and I don't even think I'm like a huge fan of Virginia either, but I feel like for the sake of the show, they're going to have to have that. They're going to have dialogue, and then keeping in mind that like that drama sells. So I can see the producers like, we're going to put them together, you know, if, and I think about the element of the 3 of them, if the wife had been present while they're having that conversation, it probably would have a little different. And then, you know, he would say like, y'all don't know us. We just met y'all, like y'all strangers, like get out of my business. And their rebuttal was, we love her. We want to protect her. We want to make sure she's happy and things like that, which I can get the 2 sides of that. One side is y'all really don't know her. Y'all really not friends like that. So don't act like you're super concerned. And then the other side is that in the Married at First Sight history, they bring the wives together to really form a bond. I don't know how much of it turns into a sisterhood, but you hear even the experts say, we put these people together so that they can lean on each other. Yeah. So when the girls were vocal, I was like, okay, yeah, y'all in his business, but I can get their angle too. I just can do it out like with like the disrespect and the insults going back and forth. I'm going to say it because I feel like that man called her a drunkard. Okay?
Baby, I screamed, okay? I screamed.
Now listen, she be on that bottle. She don't be on a scene of the show without some type of liquor or her verbally announcing, I need a shot.
Yeah. So my notes, and they a little scattered today, so bear with me. But my notes on that particular situation, with friendships, whether it's inside of the guys of Married at First Sight or not, excuse me, because clearly today is my day, but within the guise of friendship in either setting, I do think they overstepped. I don't think that they overstepped with the intention to overstep, but I was taught very early on that you let grown folks be grown, you let married folks be married, and what they choose to do in their household is their business.
Yeah.
I do think that even with that, there was a different way that they could have expressed concern. I do feel like, because it kind of came up last week, but we saw it more this week. I feel like a part of the reason that Chris snapped so much is because he feels like everybody is supporting my wife in this. And while I'm not mad at y'all, I need support too, because I'm going through this too. And they made it very prevalent. We not supporting you, we supporting her. So that's a lot of pressure on him, which I've been saying that from the get-go. I think
they even took it a step further than that.
They did say that.
Probably overlapping. Go ahead, Joy.
No, you good. They did say that. They definitely said, because if it was me, I would have left. Like, some stuff is too far. And I put that in my notes because I have had situations in my life as well where a friend did something with the intent to be my friend, to protect me, to cover me, but it came across as too much. And so the question is, how far is too far? Like, is it okay to say to your friend's spouse, this is what I don't like, or this is what you need to do? You know, like, how far is too far? So did you want to piggyback on that before I go to the rest of my
I want to chime in real quick. Listen, I want to say this. 2 things. They even, I believe, made a statement of like, we really don't even like you. Like, we don't care for you. Like, we're there for her. Paige is a beautiful woman. Inside and out, her personality is amazing and things like that. So what you have to be mindful of is this. You can't set that type of stage and then come on the back end and say, but I want to support what y'all are doing in y'all marriage. That's just not going to work. And then to ask your question, how far is too far as it relates to boundaries? I feel like if a couple is saying, and that's why I say it's interesting to me, well, is unique because on one hand, in real life, if person say back up, I don't want y'all in my business, the conversation should be over. But I feel like the producers and how the show is set up is putting them in those conversations together, you know, because I even think that if you even add a different variable, if Briana had been present with those two ladies, I feel like that conversation could have shifted a different way too, because she understands the black code. She understands when a black man about to flip, everybody just back up, move out the way. And I don't want to throw the race card in it too much, but I feel like black people got the understanding of this Negro about to she about to throw over the tables. They ain't even gotta say it. We just pick up in our spirit. I don't know. One of my friends say
his cuckoo about to come out the clock. Okay.
Yes, and you ain't gotta say it around African Americans, but we feel it. It just get a little tense. Maybe because how we raised in the black household. I don't know. But they were not getting that this man was ready to explode. They was missing it. How set up or how it was on TV on the camera. So yeah, I think they're respecting and honoring those boundaries. And I think that it's too that when you are approaching like the whole marital thing, because they're having marital issues, you even if you don't like the husband or you don't like the wife, if you're going to support, you got to support both of them, you know, like you can't address that but then single them.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, like we're gonna move on. If we wanted to move on to the next scene where he was talking to his wife and he was telling her, like, listen, I don't want to talk to them. I don't really want you talking to them. Let's get up and go. Yeah. Paige reacted in that situation as a married woman. My husband said, you about to get ready to get up and go. That's just what we're about to do.
So we go.
So you can't separate them in that support. If you're gonna support her, you essentially supporting them.
That's the concept that I don't think people understand. I'm gonna circle back around to a piece of that, but I've said this to you privately and I'll say it publicly. Although I don't think Chris handled the situation well, I don't think he handles most situations well. I do not like the narrative, right? But I do not like the narrative of the angry black man thing. I don't like that. Mm-hmm. I think that for a Lifetime to edit it that way is very insensitive to the things that we have been experiencing. Excuse me, but I think it's very insensitive to portray it that way less than a year after George Floyd and all that. Like there's a lot of racial tension still in America, and so I think to portray and to purposely edit in the comments about, oh, he's angry, oh, he's about to snap, like I don't think that was right. I don't think it's good, and I don't like that narrative. Like again, he angry, but he angry with a reason. Like he not just spazzing out because the sky is blue and water is wet. And even if they don't agree with the reason, acknowledge the fact that he does have a reason to be angry and don't make it seem like he was unprovoked. Because y'all put him in that situation, knowing that they didn't like him and knowing that he don't like them. So,
yeah, I totally agree with you. I wouldn't add nothing to what you said, but I will say this: when you poke the bear for so long, when the bear get up, it's gonna be held to the captain. Now, what y'all do with it is on y'all, but you gotta know people. Like, listen, some folks, if you wake that fool up, they gonna act a complete fool. Okay, so I totally agree. I don't know. So the end scene when the couples were sitting at the table, they was having that moment. Do you want to start that now? You want to hit it at the end? Because that kind of ties it to it. Minus the bus scene.
Yeah, I was gonna get into the bus scene a little bit. So with the bus scene, he literally got on the bus saying that he was gonna make that ride a living hell going back. I think it was childish, but like I said, I don't think Chris handles a lot of situations very well, so I wasn't surprised. It was just like, come on, you said what you had to say, you spoke your piece, leave it alone. But again, when you poke a bear for so long, oh, y'all wanted me up, I'm up.
Yeah, now I'm up. Chris got on their bus and said, I want all smoke, I'm going off. I'm finna be disrespectful. I'm acting a fool. And whereas a lot of viewers, even including myself, was like, listen, let's dial this down. It's not that deep. Like, calm down, break it down. Chris was like, listen, y'all want the smoke? I'm about to give it. And for me, it became disrespectful. I also found that it was ironic that these women, Clara and Virginia, they were on the bus as well. So it was 3 couples, and their husbands didn't really say much. And I struggle with that too, and it could be the sister girl in, but listen, you're not about to bring the smoke to me and I get it back. Like, if we were in a situation and it died down, let that be that. If you bring it back up, I'm going to give you what you asked for. So I was like, you get the right type of person in that situation, we about would have got the throwing hands. I'm just gonna be honest. Like, on
the bus.
Don't get all loud and strong.
Forget at dinner. We'd have bought on the bus.
On the bus. It's like literally on some College Hill type stuff. We on the bus banging, but so yes. Also, Chris, Paige. We're gonna Paige real quick. I just see that baby just so, I said last week, she's so hopeful. Right now, I just feel like it's been blow after blow. Like, she gets me, I'm very drained at this point. It's only been 6-7 days. We at the end of our we ain't even got back home yet. I don't know what home life is about to entail, but she gives me, listen, I am tired. Like, she gives me like that tired woman that just need a break. And I will say this, and me and you have had conversations off camera. The Black woman in me, and I feel like even for women that will listen to this, that triggers a lot of us, because it's like, listen, because some gotta give. Some has to give. And listen, she is so...
Don't you start with that voice.
And hopeful of my marriage.
Don't you start with that voice. I'm not gonna
the woman time. I ain't even got much to say. A Paige time, and the new dialogue concerning the Married at First Sight. Joy and I are in the same Married at First Sight fan page that got some I think 40,000 people in it, so it's up there. And the new dialogue is, I've been saying as recent as, do we still feel bad for Paige, or is she just making the decision to stay in this situation?
So I don't even know if that's on my notes or not. Like I said, my notes are kind of all over the place, but I definitely feel like I feel bad for Paige, because having to relive this, this whole thing happened way before we saw it, but having to relive it, and I'm hoping that, unlike her husband, she is not on social media to watch this travesty unfold. But still,
because he clearly on the social media,
right?
Clubhouse and all.
But I feel bad for her, but not for the same reasons that everybody else does. I feel bad for her because, as I said before, I feel like she is being judged for her decision to stay. I think that it's very easy for people to say what they would have done in that situation, because you're not in it. It's very easy to say, oh yeah, I would have been out, because you're not there. And the thing is, and this is no shade to anybody, but it's a whole lot of folks that have stayed in some jacked up situations that's now dogging Paige. No, baby, you had some crap in your life too, and you chose to stay. Because
you stayed in it for a long time.
And stayed in it for a long time.
It was a long time.
Only 6 days in. And she's 6 days into a marriage. She didn't just meet this guy 6 days ago and go on a date. She didn't just meet this guy 6 days ago and hang out. She married him. She is legally married. And I don't fault her for trying to make it work. We 6 days in and we married. Like, this is not somebody I met on Hinge. This is my husband. So I don't fault her for that. I believe that everybody has a breaking point, and you can't make nobody get to their breaking point for them. So when she's ready, she'll be done. But until then, I think that people are dogging her, and I don't think it's right. Maybe I'm just too nice. I don't think it's right.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Listen, and they dog her on that end, and they dog her on the Christian end.
Yeah.
I've never seen so much dialogue between a woman, her husband and the Lord. Like, that's a big thing. And I know a lot of people do not believe in God. Listen, that's your prerogative. I'm not mad at you. That's your business. However, a lot of people are saying, like, that's the problem with the faith now. That's the problem with Christian women now, that they're over spiritualizing marriage and that God will not allow you to be in such a way. I've even seen a lot of posts, and I'm referring back to the Married at First Sight fan page now, people who are believers, who are they stand as if they're believers, and they'll say, and that's not to be, an insult, but they'll say, like, listen, that ain't God. God ain't gonna bring you that. That's a mess. Let it go. And even Joy and I have talked about that. And even as the scriptures will say, like, when we face like troubling times or trying times, that the Bible say these things will work together for your good. Now how they work together, we may not know. We can't put all the pieces together all the time, especially if you're not living in it. So I don't really know. I think for me, if we wanted to like be done with the Chris and Paige situation for now, one thing about Chris though, Chris is honest. If you about ask him, he gonna tell you. And I think I said the last week, that's probably his only pro for me.
So I put that in my notes because I think I figured out when that man is lying. If he say, know what I'm saying, he lying. It was one sentence where that man said, know what I'm saying, 5 times in one sentence. Sir?
What's funny is that's just off the scene of Why Did I Get Married? And when he was like, know what I'm saying? Angela, she said, I know you're lying.
I know you're lying, but literally, if you catch him, and this is kind of jumping around this episode, but at the beginning, when I forgot what he was talking about at the beginning that put me on guard to start counting every time he said it. But at the end, he said something to Paige about the ex-fiance, and it was like, no, because I'm attracted to you, know what I'm saying? And then 30 seconds later, she asked him, have you considered going back to your ex-fiance? There was not one, know what I'm saying? It was, yes, we talked about it, and I have considered it. So, yeah. He know when that man be lying.
Listen, he also made mention at the end on the Chris and Paige bandwagon. He said that when they were having a table conversation with the other couples, he made mention of how he's going through like all this stress and all this drama, like when it's literally unfolded on live TV, which I could give him that. I bet that has to be like very, very difficult. Although it's the bed that you made, you have to lie in it. A lot of us don't lie in our bed on national TV. However, he was saying he gave the comment about when he's going through a lot of pressure, a lot of hard times, he often called like his grandmother and his great grandmother to like pray for him, and how like these like spiritual encounters just feel bad about themselves, and me and Joe, we say we believe in the power of prayer around her. Okay. But he said, I think grandmama had told him like, now you got your wife is a godly woman, she can do that. And with that whole situation or whatever, I guess Paige prayed for him, declared the word of God over him, and he felt better about himself or whatever. He was just outwardly expressing the fact that like he appreciated her, he thanked her for that. He didn't have that before, but now he have that in like a godly woman. And towards the end of the episode, he had made mention that now I'm becoming like spiritually attracted to you, all the while saying I've been talking to my ex, we've been entertaining conversations of us being back together, of raising our family back together, and what does that look like? And I believe this one Paige really started like boiling on the inside, just black woman. I seen the pot start to boil. She was like, do you still love her? He was like, yeah.
Right.
Still love her.
So, and I don't know why people surprised by that. He just broke up with the girl a couple months ago. So, yeah. But we can...
They was literally together last June. They taped this like last fall. Yes.
They got married in August, and I think he broke up with the girl in June. So, what we expect?
Yeah, they still feeling that.
Exactly. So, this is a good segue into Erik and Virginia because Chris was finna let Erik have it. And once again, I don't feel bad for Erik. Like, I don't know if maybe I just was real triggered by the whole angry black man situation. But even Erik had made little comments like, well, I didn't know if he was going to snap or, like, I didn't like that. I was so mad. But even before we got to the last scene where they almost fought, in the first scenes, Erik was visibly intoxicated. and telling this man, you need to man up and blah, 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 blah. And it was like, again, maybe it's a Black cultural thing, but you can't tell no grown man they need to man up if you're my peer. Like, you're not, to me, a comment like that should only come from somebody's dad or grandfather or pastor, a man that they look up to. You don't know this man from a can of paint. You met him 2 weeks ago. And you telling him he needs to man up. So I think that all of those things piling up were like fuel to the fire. In addition to when they got to dinner and Chris was apologizing and Erik and Virginia were late.
Again.
Late again, drunk again. And when they
drunk
got
again.
There, when they got there, he called himself trying to snap at Chris literally right after Chris just got done apologizing for it. So it's like, you should have came in and shut up for a few minutes. Read the room. Ain't that what they say? Read the room before you open your mouth. And that's where they went wrong. Yeah.
Yeah. I did though everything you said. I just gotta put it out. And I know that the drinking, every scene, being drunk, you have to stop that. You literally, because there's a level of like you're conscious that you're not operating in because you are intoxicated. Especially if you're a person that do not drink all the time, you lightweight out here. You really can't hold it, where like his wife drinks every day or most times out of the week. She can drink a little bit and still function in like normalcy. He get a little something. They done showed him drinking the vodka and all of that. He was tipsy every episode, and which I find it very ironic because he say like, this is not who I am. This is not where I come from. But you have Mary and Chris, where it's a drunkard. So you adapting her ways, and you are speaking on stuff that you should not speak on. Because here's the thing about it: like in normal life, if you're not intoxicated, you may think a thing, but then that drinking to get in your system, then now you got the liquid courage and you saying things that you should not say. You think them, but keep it on the inside. And when you allow it to come off, it just does not go the right way. Although there's truth behind it, some stuff you just should not do. And like you said, with the whole, you need to man up. Like you said, an elder or a leader or something like that. But even I feel like if we had a friendship level of intimacy, you don't want to see me doing bad, you're going to say that kind of thing, but you have to do that thing within the right context. We don't have that. We're strangers. So like, you need to pipe that down. But you're not my daddy. Like, I'm just saying how I want to say it. You that's not your role in my life. So early to pull it down. And even then, like you said, with the whole angry Black man, I just found it interesting that when they were arguing, even by the little drives that they were doing with the excursion, you didn't say nothing then. You didn't say nothing on the bus. Now you want to bring it double back because you done had this lick in your system, want to get strong. But that's the thing. You get strong, and then I got like a food card in my back pocket too. And now I want the smoke. That's just how we are.
Because when I say Chris got a wild card in his back pocket, listen, as much as I hate the fact that he got on there talking about he from Chicago, embarrassing us, the moment that man told him to man up, I was like, y'all want to see some Chicago. That's what y'all want. Because you don't even know what you're saying.
I said that when I was watching, I said, he about to bring the Chicago out on this TV.
That Chicago finna come out and slap fire out that man.
Listen, on the national TV, you will get this business.
That's what I said. Being raised in Chicago, I know that at a certain point, there's no turning back. When Chris stood up, I was like, he finna mollywop this man. On national TV. So,
in the words of Briana, he about to earn his BITCH out.
and she meant what she said because he was.
Yes, she did.
What else did I put for Erik and Virginia? I definitely put that man up was disrespectful. That comment was disrespectful. I also put non-related to Chris. About meshing lifestyles, because he said very early on that he was not a partier and a drinker. And on the one hand, I appreciate that he is so willing to, like, I don't want to say give in, but like be a part of this party drinking lifestyle that his wife has. But the whole point of coming together is to bring two lives together and make a new life. Like, that was my life as a single. That was your life as a single. Now this is our life together. And I feel like he is just taking all of her life on. He's not putting any of his spin on it other than that date. Because I do think the date was him, showing her a good time in a different way. But you can't just give in to everything. I don't want no man that's just gonna be a doormat. You're gonna have to stand up at some point. And again, maybe that's my upbringing because when me and you were talking about something, I don't even know which couple we were talking about, but you were saying like at some point you would get put out the house. And I was like, honey, listen, the house that I was raised in, my parents were like, okay, you can be mad. Ain't nobody leaving this house because we both live here. You go in the front and I go in the bedroom. We'll be mad in 2 separate rooms. Ain't nobody leaving this house. So I think at some point they have to mesh their lives together a little more. And I did put that Erik with the whole him trying to talk to Chris, you know, like he don't know you and you trying to advise him. That was where I think that's actually where I put the how far is too far. So that's all I had for Erik and Virginia. I feel like Virginia, you can go ahead because Virginia's bottom of my list right now.
Listen, I'm finna tell right in Virginia here really quick. She said they had some major differences and she made it her business to like really, really highlight that they have some major differences. And I feel like she was almost saying that we have some great differences and there's some stuff about me that I'm just not going to change. I always think that is unique when it comes to marriage because on one hand, and I think you had talked about this as well, on one hand of the spectrum, I do believe that some parts about people can change and we really, really, really are intentional about that change. But I feel like when we come into marriage, especially when we're newly married and even with myself being newlywed, some stuff you just gonna have to take me as I am, but trying to figure out what's gonna actually work because this is a modern arranged marriage. You know, there's no dating in between. They didn't have that time to like discover, like we said I do, and now we are discovering. And I've mentioned this several times in the past, but I feel like in success rates, as it relates to married at first sight history, you have to be willing to put your all in to make that thing work. You cannot just be hard-headed with some stuff because I just feel like that's that thing about that social experiment. You got to be willing to bend because we don't have a foundation. We're going to work each other out. You're going to work me out and something has to give. So whether it be the party, whether it be the social life, whether it be how you want to raise kids, whether it be my schedule and things like that, like he telling her and some stuff, he being honest. When we go back to Atlanta, my work schedule is this. You're going to have to be able to accommodate that. We're going to have to be able to make it work. And I'm hopeful that she's going to be able to do some give and take because when I hear her talk, she gives me very much so this is my boyfriend and he's not.
Yeah.
He's your husband.
He's your husband. And he comes before your friends. She talked a lot about how she doesn't want to give up any of her friends. And I think that's a valid concern as a single woman. I definitely have some male friends that I am close to. I have a male best friend who is one of my singles exchange staffers. And he and I have been friends since we were 17 years old. So to say you can't be friends with him no more would be an issue for me. But I'm not just gonna flat foot say, I'm not giving up nothing, and you just gonna have to deal with it. Like, where's the compromise? Because my spouse, the vow said that your spouse is supposed to come before everybody. Ain't that what the vow say?
Yeah.
So, I think that Virginia, from what we can see, because we know it's editing involved, but from what we can see, Virginia is not willing to compromise, and that could be a problem in the long run.
Anything in my last sentence too, it's not going to work with her for him being as possessive and has control. So going back to your point, I have a male best friend. I don't have a male best friend, but I have a lot of male friends in my life, and my husband is aware of these male friends. What happens is this: when we get married, they become our friends. You know, even if you don't talk to my male friend, I haven't seen like Quentin and Sherry's having a conversation. Hey, Sherry's listening. I haven't seen them having a conversation outside of me. But then there's still that mutual love and respect as it relates to this is not your husband. You're not walking in covenant and partnership with someone else as a teammate, and we love it and accepting both of y'all. That's why I said I don't know what Erik's past was, but it gives me a little bit of insecurity. And I don't know what like that past marriage was as it related to her having male friends. Because if his ex-wife did cheat or did have some little fumbling with some male friends, I can get why he's so aggressive when it comes to you got to get rid of them. But then again, that's why we say he's gonna have to compromise as well.
Definitely, most definitely. So we gonna I don't know. Virginia low on my list this week because she made me mad. So we gonna pray that she get her life next week. Because I definitely feel like she pulled the I was so scared. Like I feel like she was one step away from I was so scared. And that was really if she had went there, I probably would have stopped.
Oh yeah.
So I probably would have had to catch y'all on season 13.
Yeah.
So
listen, talking about I am triggered.
Big trigger. So
yeah, I can see that. Absolutely.
Right. Anything else on Erik and Virginia?
The child know.
All right, we moving on. Ryan and Clara. Jesus.
Let me start right here. Clara told her, "You're the woman that I am." Let me say this. That doesn't help. People who say stuff like that understand
that's
that
not supportive at all
in moments like that.
Not supportive.
And if you look at it the right way, it's low key. Yeah, like it's low key, under key, like an insult, ma'am. I want to stay married too. I want to be in marital bliss too. I want to be enjoying my honeymoon too. I want to be getting to know my husband while outside without all these outside factors as well. And that's the thing too. Like when we throw like we friends and we want to be supportive, you got to really watch that. You know what I'm saying? I think Briana gives us like a good example of how to like deal with like the whole Paige situation. I'm trying to support you and your husband. I'm there for you. I'm going to try to remain subjective and not, just all the way on your side or anti-Chris. But it started with Clara that did not help. So Clara was also involved with the ATV situation and she kind of backed back. And it's interesting because she's very vocal, but I feel like she was able to pick up on the hint way more than Virginia was. Their homeboy about to snap, so she kind of shut down in the conversation, and I think that was important as well. A lot of the now that I think about it, a lot of the episode kind of centered around these different things with Chris and Paige, but there was a time where Clara and Ron was laying in bed and Ron just kind of told her, like, listen, you're going to have to be mindful about conversation and like certain comments that you put on certain things because we don't want to get off into that. And like when me and you had talked about this in our private time, you don't want to have to be in a situation where I'm defending you and then I'm fighting this man on behalf of something that you said.
Pretty much.
Talking about Clara and her being anti-Chris.
And I agree with that. So I feel like I said, the household that I was raised in, I have literally seen situations where my dad has said, we are going to leave the situation alone because if this person says XYZ to my wife, I'm going to shoot him. And y'all know my dad is Pistol Pete. So he will shoot somebody. Like, that's literally him. And so I have seen that situation and it's real. You're not going to talk to my wife any old type of way. And that's why I said I'm not even totally mad at Erik for choosing to defend Virginia. But the way that Ryan handled it versus the way Erik handled it shows the maturity level to me. It was thought out. And it was planned ahead. It wasn't just I got some liquid courage and I'm gonna take the plunge type of thing, So
that's it.
Yeah,
that's
I
it.
appreciate it. So I think Clara. So I had some notes about Clara that were not about Chris and Paige.
Okay.
I do feel like a lot of the episodes have been centered around their situation, and I don't like that. I made a comment in general about this season in my notes and how it's a whole lot of like girls' day activities and guys' day activities. And I feel like we didn't have as many of those in previous seasons. Like it's a lot more we bonded together. Like I feel like that's always been a thing with Married at First Sight, but this season is a lot more, especially on the honeymoon. The honeymoon is supposed to be your getaway with just you and your spouse. This is a whole lot of group meetings for a honeymoon. So and I don't know.
You know what? I wanted does COVID have a play in there too?
Or
be so limited.
Or is it that they are trying to help Paige not have to be with Chris so much? Because that's what I think it is. I don't think it's a COVID thing. I think it's Chris and Paige together, we don't have a lot of scenes, and anytime they are together, it's an explosion. So, in order to have some honeymoon content, let's create an excursion or an event where it's just the girls or where it's just the guys, so that we can still see all 5 couples, even if they're not necessarily together. So that's what I think. And if that is what they're doing, then for once in production, I think production has played a part in all this drama. So I'm kind of upset with them for that. But in this instance, I appreciate them not just having Paige in her room angry while everybody else on the beach kicking their feet up,
Yeah.
So, but anyway,
with drinks in their hands.
Right, kicking it with Bay. But I also think that could be detrimental in the long run because, like you said, they married strangers. This is a non-traditional arranged marriage, so they do need that time to bond and be together. And they keep getting pushed into these group situations where they should be just bonding with each other. So, Anyway, my comment for Clara.
But that goes back to that Ryan situation. Ryan and Clara, when they laid in bed, they was like, "Listen, we're gonna have to pull back off some of that and focus on each other. This still our honeymoon at the end of the day."
Yeah, I agree. So Clara, kind of again trying to move away from Chris and Paige. She was talking about how Ryan has never said "I love you" to anyone, and how that's a red flag for her. And I'm not opposed to that. I recently matched with a guy on Hinge who told me that he had never been in a relationship. And I was like, never? Like, not one? And it was a bit of a red flag for me because do you know how to handle a relationship? But anyway.
Commitment.
Right. And so I think that I get her red flag. Like, I get why that raised some eyebrows, but also he's never been married before. Like, this is a different situation. So don't take it as, he ain't ever said "I love you," so I'm not hopeful that he will ever say "I love you" to me, because that's not the case. Like, y'all are a very unique situation, and it is possible that he will say it, and he will say it sooner than 5-6 years down the line. So, yeah, we'll see how that goes. Clara was kind of low on my list this week too, because she was actually the one that made the very angry comment, but I appreciate the fact that she saw her error and was like, you know what, you right, I'm gonna shut up. So
I'm gonna have to pull back a little bit.
Yeah, so I appreciated that for her, but I didn't have a whole lot. I feel like Ryan and Clara was just kind of chilling. Ryan was definitely trying to be the peacemaker, and when Erik and Virginia got there, and Erik called himself finna snap, and Ryan was like, hold on, because you just got here and you don't even know what we've been talking about, because he already apologized for that. Like, he tried to make it right. And so I appreciate that about Ryan. I've always liked Ryan though. I feel like Ryan is half black, so he definitely like power to the people type of thing. So I appreciate Ryan. I like him. I just don't like his haircut.
Do you like Ryan and Clara together?
I was iffy on them together at first because it was a few reasons, but I like them together. I think that they are a good match overall. I do think that they have some really big red flags that we talked about last week with the whole child rearing thing, but I like them together. I think they're a good match, and I think they balance each other well, because one thing that I have noticed in these 6 episodes is that now whenever Clara is around Ryan, she's a little calmer. Like, Clara was almost like bouncing off the walls.
Yes, she is.
Episodes. And now that she's with him, she has found her more reserved side. And it's very subtle. Like, she is still herself, but I appreciate that she has found a balance in that. So I like it. I like it.
Same here. I think too, going back to the whole "I love you" statement and things like that, I feel like with some people, they hold that to just like a really high standard and a really high regard. And I think that all situations, all relationships, all vibes, all chemistries, all that stuff, it's just those are different elements that like stir into one pot, and if a person will say, if a person will not. I do feel like he is capable of saying it. It's just they have to get to that point for him and for her. What's interesting is though what she may need to get to the point to say I love you is probably not what he's going to need, but she's probably going to have to discover like what is that for him, and they be breaking down like that conversation, those barriers and things like that, you know, because I did raise an eyebrow. Like, you ain't never said I love you. But I bet it's there. I bet it's the possibility to say it.
It's there because he loved his family. He loved his friends. And family is one thing, but you have friends that you love and you told them you love them and you didn't just come into the world with them. So it's definitely,
you grew to love them.
You grew to love them. So I think it's possible. It's just going to take some time. Just going to take some time.
Yeah.
All right. I'll be ready to talk about Vincent Bree.
Sure. Yeah, we're ready.
So let's talk
Miss Bossy.
Miss Bossy. Because okay, so for those of you that have not seen the episode, Vincent and Briana are this season's current favorites. Everybody loves them. And everybody is just rooting for them to make it, which makes me happy because Briana is Black and she is like a dark-skinned Black girl. Like she's fine. So I appreciate that they are rooting for her so hard because that's typically not the dark-skinned Black girl's narrative, and not even just as far as Married at First Sight, but just in the media in general. So
period. Yeah. I
appreciate that. But this particular time, and this could be another instance of the way we portray Black women. She is bossy, and that's not to be held lightly. Like, I'm not saying that they trying to make it more than what it is, because day one in the vows, they was like, Brianna's family wants you to know that she is kind but bossy. She is loving, but bossy. She is respectful, but bossy. Like, they went into this whole thing. And so she knew that her family said it, and he knew going in that she had some bossy tendencies. But now that they clapped their cheeks and her bossiness slipped out, he was like, let me help you, sugar. Because I know you said you was bossy, but you were disrespectful, and that's not gonna work. I appreciated the fact that he was such a great communicator about it. He didn't break her in a negative way, but he was very transparent about how he felt, and he didn't back down from it. I think that's the difference between him and Erik, who is backing down to Virginia's drinking, backing down to her being late, and just going along with the flow. I think that is another very bold difference, because Vincent, like, I'm not going. It was disrespectful.
It's a no for me.
And you're not gonna disrespect me.
No.
I like what we're doing. I like where we going. You're not gonna disrespect me, though. And she said twice, what she say? You annoyed me today. And it was like, okay, that's fine. You still was disrespectful.
Yeah.
And you're not gonna do that. So I was like, come on.
No, but the beauty in that is that's that finding that balance. That's that give and take. You're gonna have to give some, and I'm gonna have to give some until we find out what rhythm works for us. You know. And I also want to say that I think that, and I've stated this I think a few times, that I'm newlywed, just been married since November of last year. We're only in February, so not even 3 months. And I think that with the single perspective is that, like, when we live on our own, we're taught to do everything on our own. You can be selfish, you run your life, you run your house, you run your world, you set that climate, you know. And I can see how that can come out being bossy, because you are in control of everything. You are in demand of everything, even when you don't want to. Let's put that there. Even when you want somebody to be in the role of that companionship, if you don't have nobody in that seat, all the responsibility and that work and the delegation falls on you. So I can see, like, that just been a huge thing, like when she was single. But I feel like now being married, having to lose some of that control, even on the episode where she was like, I don't know if she was trying to tell him like, be ready to do something within like a certain time, in your own world, in your own bubble, that works.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's your rhythm. But when you are living life and you're cohabitating with someone else, you just cannot do that. So a part of it, and I just wrote it down when you were talking, was that I can see Briana, if she can learn to like relax a little bit, just about that, just a little bit, and I've been saying it all the time. When you marry, you don't marry Raquel. I'm Raquel. I don't marry Raquel. I marry a whole other person who does life in a completely different way. And although I feel like, as women, we have some of that, a lot of persuasion to throw out subtle hints. Oh, babe, I didn't like that. Or could you do it like this next time or whatever? You don't want to be like super like demanding and controlling, and I can see how that does come off as disrespect, because I'm not you and you're not me, and just because you don't do it the way that I did it, that doesn't make my way wrong, or it doesn't make your way wrong. I think a lot of people get into that too. The way you clean is not how I clean, so that's wrong. The way you cook is not how I cook, so that's wrong. And it's like, no, it's not. This is how I do my stuff. And I've been doing it this way for, we 30 now or 20? I've been doing it this way all my life. Yeah. So we cannot expect, okay, now that we're married, people to instantly make that adapt. It comes over time. And that's why I said that if she can relax a bit, working.
Say that last part again, sis. You was breaking up.
I was talking about that, the whole part of like her having to like relax, because you accustomed to doing something your way, especially if this is your first time and you've never been married before. So we cannot expect, okay, now that we're newlyweds, for me to instantly to adapt to what you're used to or what you like. I think some of that stuff is going to take time. Some of that stuff is going to take give and take. Some of that stuff is going to say, okay, you did it this way, but I really didn't like that. Even if I was used to being late and you're used to being very punctual, you cannot expect that person to automatically adapt to your life, because I didn't do it like this before I met you. So having to relax and figuring out like what works, is just like chilling back. You say you want to be a wife and you ready to marry. Now you gotta let that man step into position and let him, be a husband. But I think that that's growing on him, and that can also be growing on her, which I think can be a powerful thing too if they had communicated. But when she communicated outwardly, she said that you just annoyed me. No. You'll realize that you're not in as much control as you have been used to in the past.
And that's really all it was, because the whole thing about her being annoyed was based off of the fact that she wanted him to get ready when she was getting ready. And girl, you can control that grown man. As long as he dressed when it's time to walk out the door, I don't care when you put your clothes on. Put your clothes on and be ready when it's time to go.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Anything else about the fairy tale that's not a fairy tale no more? It's so funny because now in the Married at First Sight groups, now they not rooting for them. Now this week, I'm not rooting for anybody. I don't think none of the couples gonna make it. And it's like, y'all change with the seasons. Calm down. Every time the wind blow, y'all got a different attitude.
I was gonna ask you that. I was like, are they still technically the favorites at this point?
I think they are. I think they're still the favorites, but I do think that people were mad about it. And it's just
I've seen people mad at her and people mad at him. I don't know if I've verbally said this, but I don't have a favorite yet.
Briana and Vince are my current favorite. They the closest to normal at this point. I can't see nobody else being normal, so I'm gonna take Bri and Vince for 500.
They are. Yeah, if who gonna make it, for sure. Yeah, I don't think I've just fallen in love with them yet, though. That's all. Like I remember in past seasons, certain stuff about certain couples, I was like, oh, bro. That's it. Like when he was like taking on Daisy and like breaking her down and like working her down, he was taking on Daisy and like loving her and being physically like attracted and stuff like that. Like that's so windy. You know, when Deanna and Greg, when Greg was like, listen, if I gotta take it down brick by brick, I'm undo this wall and my wife is gonna fall in love with me. You know, like it was stuff like that in different seasons. I was like, yeah, this I'm into this, you know. I ain't really I do appreciate like their love and them like just being in awe of each other. I think that is nice. I think it's also needed because they're gonna hit some real patches when they gotta live together. It's just gonna happen. But yeah, ain't nobody gonna be over just shit.
Yes, it's going to happen. All right. So anything else? I think you already said this, but I do appreciate the fact that Brianna was so willing to adjust. Because a lot of times when we feel like we're being judged or attacked, we lash back out. And she did not do that. She chose to say, okay, I'm gonna change this, I'm gonna do this differently. So I appreciated that about her as well. Okay, are we good? We ready to move on to the last? I didn't think that we was gonna have this much to talk about with little 80s man, but it's some stuff popped off this week with the 80s man.
So listen, they saying the Ace man is your move for the whole 2021. Just sit there and look. Where's the food at? Cause y'all, I'm about to be unbothered, unfazed
My
this whole year.
Eggs, okay? My steak and eggs. So, all right, let's dive on into Jacob and Haley. So the same issue throughout the whole episode for them. One, I appreciate that they were not in any way involved with the Chris and Paige situation. Shout out to Jacob and Haley for staying in their lane and worrying about themselves. But at the beginning of
mind their business, pay them.
Period. At the beginning of this episode, we found out that they did have sex. And he told her, since we had sex, you've been withdrawn. I want to hold your hand. I want to hang out with you. Like, I think that
I want to touch you.
I want to touch you. Okay. I think that he did such an excellent job of communicating what he was feeling without attacking her. He did an excellent job of effectively communicating.
Yes, he did.
On a podcast that I did last week, the guest was saying that effective communication is self-control. And I appreciate that with Jacob because he didn't, like I said, he didn't snap on her. He just told her, like, this is what I see. And I feel like you're not really, you know, and if that's what's happening, tell me. So I feel like the fact that he even had to say it multiple times makes me sad for him because, like I said before, he's quirky and people say he's weird, but he is himself. He is exactly who he is, and he is unapologetically him. And just, you know, a lot of people say they think that the sex was bad and that's why she recoiled. I don't think that's why, but a lot of people think that. And I understand why, because that's what it looks like. It looks like we did it. I know you one of them. I know. But it looks like we did it, and now you backing away. And I honestly don't feel like that's the case. I feel like people who have been single for an extended amount of time, because we live in a hookup society, people are used to hooking up and moving on. It's like swipe right, you get your jollies off, and you go on about your business. And so for her now, this is not just a tender hookup. This is somebody that I'm married to. So after we do what we do, I got to still get up and talk to you the next day. And I think that's new territory for her. She ain't had to do that in so long. So that's my thoughts. But I know you got a different philosophy. And then we're going to circle back around to how she clowned at the end.
Yes, she did clown at me. Okay. And the whole time you were talking, I was like, and that too. Put that on her. But, you know, you summed it up very well. Last week I gave y'all, she trying. She into it. She smiling. She laughing. This week I'm disappointed interested. I don't want to sit on the same side of the table as you. I don't need a lot of camera time with you. I just really want to know, the Married at First Sight fan in me, what caused the great shift. And then at first, I believe on last episode 5, they were saying that when the couples were together, the conversation came out of, have anybody had the sex yet? And I believe they was like, we gonna keep that on the low. We're not really gonna say if we did or did not. So the fact that they opened up and said they did have sex, I was like, okay, all right, that gave me good vibes, and I stand on everything that I said last episode, but now there's such a dramatic shift, and I always find it just super intriguing when at the beginning of the show, everybody's storyline is, I'm ready to be married. I'm ready to be married. I'm ready to be a wife. I'm ready to assume position as a husband. I'm ready to do the things that it takes to have a lifelong partner. I'm ready to fight for this legacy, if you will. And then we get into the actual marriage, and week 1 in, and it just be like I'm ready to go back to my corner, and I can sympathize with that, but then this is where I'm on the opposite end, because for us to have all this time of being single, as you said, when we take them vows, it's now game time. So you just cannot shut down. You just cannot be present all the time and don't think that you're not going to be held accountable for your actions to another person. Like, if we all team ready to be a spouse, let's get into it. Whether the sex was good or whether it was bad, we have to talk about that. Whether you are annoying me or I'm not liking this, we have to talk about that. We just cannot go off into our corners. Oh, I've been single for so long and I've been the bridesmaids for 14, 16 times. Okay, now is your time. Like, you don't get to the Super Bowl and be like, I'm not ready, I'm not prepared. No, let's put your best foot forward.
Period.
And I want to just ditto what you said again about the way he communicated. Excellent job.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. I know some husbands in the past that married at first sight. They gave her the business
quickly,
especially when they feel like they put their best foot forward. But they gave that girl the business.
Yeah. But let little sugar have it. So yeah, I agree. I definitely feel I feel like he communicated it well. And I just think it's so interesting because the last 2 or 3 episodes, she has tried her best to make it seem like, oh, he's so awkward. He's so awkward. Well, 1, you had sex with the little awkward man.
Yeah, you did.
2, you the one that turned awkward. He trying to be normal. Whole hand walk through the park, and now you acting all weird. It's like, girl, what happened? So
did to both. Did. I want to say this too. And I said this when I was watching, I think episode 6 and 5. When they get around other couples, these Negroes be lying. They get around other couples and be like, oh, it's been great. It's been amazing. It's been a fairy tale. And then you get the couples on their own individual couple camp, and y'all be awkward. Y'all don't be talking. Y'all don't be having the fun. Y'all just lying. Like, who y'all trying to save face? Like, we're not going to go back and watch it.
Right, like, we're not going to see the other stuff. Ain't no point in lying. So, let's talk about...
What happened?
What was it? Let's talk about how she played him on the girls' night. Let's go on and talk about it. So again,
let's talk about how she hurt that man's feelings.
Because I want to fight. Don't do that man like that. So basically, she told, and by she I mean Haley. Haley told her husband that the ladies of Married at First Sight were having a girls' night somewhere else in the resort. He just so happened to go downstairs to the lobby where he discovered that all 9 of the people from the show were there, with the exception of him, which I also think is weird because with tensions being as high as they are with Chris and Paige, even Chris and Paige was there. Like, that's noteworthy.
Yeah.
Even
that is
noteworthy.
You and your babe now.
And y'all not inviting Jacob? Don't do Jacob like that. I just don't think it's right. So, like,
Mr. A man ain't gonna hurt nobody.
He ain't gonna bother y'all. He gonna sit down, he gonna chill, and that's just gonna be it. Now, I was talking to one of my friends another friend of mine who also watches the show, and she thinks that they were trying to like have a off-camera moment with just them. she was saying that she thinks, they was just trying to sneak away from production and just have some actual kicking time. And I understand that, but even if you got downstairs and said, oh shoot, I thought it was all the girls, and now everybody's about their husbands. Let me run back up to the room and get mine, or let me call him or text him and say, hey, the guys came, do you want to come? Anything. Like, she just should have handled that differently. And I think she did genuinely hurt his feelings, because that man just trying to love her and run off into the sunset. Don't do Jacob.
Yeah, and do 80s stuff together.
And do 80s.
Listen, and I want to say this too, and look, I just want to put this out there. So as for me in my house, okay, y'all know what I'm saying. When I say that, that's a pet peeve of mine. Like, if I'm making sure that you good and that you cover, I expected that to be reciprocated. Like, make sure that I'm good, and even as it relates to being on the show with the other couples, even if you're really not feeling me like that, which is my last question for you, is that at least let me know. Like, don't have me out here looking like that and not making sure that I'm covered and not feeling included. I just feel like that was BS, and that's what made me kind of think, like, man, do she even like him? Because you could have had him down there. He been mingling with the other husband. You didn't have to do that like that, because it sends a louder message.
Yeah, I definitely think that that was not right. And I wouldn't want to be with somebody who didn't even consider my feelings. At the least, consider my feelings. How would you feel if you were in my shoes and you were purposely excluded from something that all 10 of us are, or all 9 of us are at? Like, I don't know. I just think that it was very inconsiderate. And like you said, even if you're not feeling me, don't embarrass me, because I'm sure he was embarrassed.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. And the first question that came up, where's Jacob? Where's her husband? That was the first question that came up.
Where your boo at?
Yeah. And you know what? And I said at the beginning when they first got matched, and I'm going to say that episode 6, do she like him?
Question gonna need answer.
I
think she's secretly another woman from another season. So she that girl twin sister. Ma'am. So yeah, I think it was wrong. Jacob, if you should ever run across this, we feel bad for you, brother. We feel bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's all I got. Any other notes? Any other thing that you think we missed?
Listen, y'all gonna have to give me the vibes. I'm sorry, somebody that called. They gonna have to give me. I need some more loving, some more growing, some more just less drama. The next episode, give me more. We just got married.
We already saw that.
Give me some of that.
Go on to get ready, because we already saw it's gonna be drama next week. I'm tired of it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm tired of it,
and that's why I'm rolling my eyes already. So, listen, but this has been good. This has been good.
It's been real good. So, as always, this is the Beauty Exchange. Be sure to follow Singles Exchange. Be sure to follow Beauty Talk. And we'll be back next week, hopefully with less drama. But I don't think that's what's happening. All right, y'all.
We shall see.
Deuces.
Bye.